did you get into a space where you could write Melanie's story? Because you've seen the world, you've experienced all of these things. How did you get out of that headspace and get into Melanie's headspace?
I think that the really crucial sort of jump there was that the two novels that I wrote before Girl with All the Gifts were collaborations with my wife and our daughter, my wife Linda and our daughter Louise. And in both cases, we were writing female protagonists. So I was working with two very, very strong-willed women, and I was working in a fictional space that was mostly populated with female characters. And I'm not sure I would have had the confidence to try and write a 10-year-old girl as a point of view character if I hadn't already been through there. And I definitely came out of it with a different voice. It's not like any of the novels that I wrote before.
Now, is there any one character in the novel whose voice you had a hard time pinning down?
I think possibly Caldwell.
Yeah.
And maybe she's the least well realized of the characters, or possibly just the least complex of the characters, because she has one fundamental drive, which is scientific truth, and she's prepared to sacrifice herself and everybody else to that. It was hard to write a character who is so emotionally switched off, so completely unable to respond to Melanie as a human being. All of the adult characters, it's their relationships with Melanie that the novel kind of turns on and explores again and again. And I think Caldwell is the only one who fails ultimately to see Melanie as a person, and it's kind of what destroys her.
Will you be writing a sequel? I know anyone who picks up this book is going to want to know the answer to this question.
Not straight away.
Okay.
There is room for either a prequel or maybe like a parallel novel. That we never quite answer the question of what happens to Beacon, what happens to this last refuge of humanity in this sort of post-apocalyptic world. And I would love to go back and tell that story. So sort of like the events that are happening in Beacon at the same time as Girl with All the Gifts. If there was a sequel, it would kind of be a different genre. It would be pure sci-fi rather than a kind of sci-fi horror amalgam.